Hey there, it's the ABCs of Preschool podcast, the place to be for busy moms, teachers, and childcare providers. I'm your host, Miss Amber, an early childhood expert with nearly 3 decades of experience and a proud mama too. I know you're running around with those little ones, so let's jump right in. Welcome to the ABCs of Preschool with Miss Amber, the founder of the Loving Start Way and the author of the ABCs of Preschool. Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode. We're going to be talking about how I started Loving Start Learning Centers, the how, the why, and the history. And even if you do not own a child care center, you might not even want to own a child care center, but maybe you are tossing around an idea of opening a business, starting a business. This could be for you too, because I think it's universal. Business is business. There's different businesses that we as entrepreneurs are all in, but the foundation, the basics are all very, very similar. And when you, I kind of describe it like when you go down the path that you want to start your own thing, you want to work for yourself. It's like walking up to the edge of a cliff and deciding if you're going to take that leap to jump off that cliff. And are you going to soar or are you going to crash and burn? So I think this is for many of you who are contemplating maybe doing your own thing. So I knew I needed to work. When I had my son, I had to pivot because staying at home was not quite fulfilling me. I loved my son and I loved being a mom but I didn't for me. And this is the thing, we all get to choose. That's the beautiful thing. We get to choose because some of you may find so much joy being at home. I'll tell you now, the season I am in my life now, as my kids are grown up, the last 4.5 years, I have slowed down tremendously, like amazingly. Like my life is like semi-retired because I have such an amazing team right now for my schools. I don't go in every day anymore. And I get to do fun things like a podcast now. I get to coach other people in business. Like I get to do like really cool, fun things that bring me joy now. So staying home, staying in my pajamas, like I'm in my leggings and socks right now, is incredible. And I love it. I like being Susie Homemaker right now. I'm just in that season of feeling like I've already accomplished a lot in my life. And I'm learning that being still and slowing it down has really given me great joy. And I'm also happily remarried to the love of my life, who happens to be a pilot. And so I have incredible opportunities all the time to basically fly around the world for free. And like I said, my kids are grown up, so I'm kind of on that other side of life. So, but then I didn't have a lot going on for me. I didn't finish college. I had enough units to be a preschool teacher, but the day to day and doing the laundry and the dishes and like on repeat was not fulfilling me. So I came up and I call this like the seed of an idea. And you may have that seed of an idea right now. You may be dreaming and wishing and thinking about something constantly right now. Is there something in your gut, in your heart that you feel like you're supposed to be doing, but you just don't know how? My biggest advice for that would be just to start. And so that was me. I just had this idea of starting a preschool. Well, I didn't have an idea of starting a giant preschool. I wanted to open a preschool in my home. And so it could be small. I can still be a mom. I can manage it. And I wanted to do it part-time. I wanted to have Monday, Wednesday, Friday classes and Tuesday, Thursday classes. So I could both work in the morning and then be like mommy in the afternoon. So I could have the best of both worlds. And so that was my vision. And like I said, I was scratching numbers on a piece of paper. It took me a long time to get to those numbers, but I had this vision in my head. So if you have your idea, I call it the seed, you have that seed, but things don't just fall from the sky. Like just make for a beautiful flower to grow, you have to water that seed. You got to put the work in and you've got to bust your butt to get it to where you want it to be. So if you have the seed, you got to start watering it. So I started watering the seed. I created a name. I created a program. I created handbook, parent information, marketing. I got a website. And again, I knew nothing about it, nothing. I had no idea about how to do anything. What I did know was that I love kids. I love teaching. Like that was my passion. So I ran with what brought me joy, what I was good at. I used my community to market. I was in a mom's group, which in my book, I talk about this a lot. Community is your friend. Community is where your clients are going to be, your families, with whatever business you're in. Be involved in your community. And at that time, I was a new mom. So I was in this most amazing group that's still going today in the Bay Area. It was called Fun Mothers Club. I'm still friends and I follow some of these ladies still on Facebook that I went to play groups. I jumped in and became a board member. You know, what's the quickest way to make friends is actually to just start volunteering. So I became a board member for Fun Mothers Club and I met some most amazing moms. I think I was in charge of the mom socials. And so we'd go out to dinner and it was very, very special group and really meaningful in my life. And so I really used that group as marketing and ran specials for the moms in that group. There was like a newsletter, you could put ads in. So really, if you're going to start anything in your community, whether it's a child care center or you're going to run from your home, because before I go further, you can run a successful preschool in your home. I did it for 9 years. And I did it very successfully before I went to the centers. So whatever business you're looking and doing, use your community because that's your friends. So give specials to people in the community. Facebook, I wasn't on Facebook wasn't around at that time. So it was mostly my marketing was with this mom's club that I used, and word of mouth, I would give specials. So I opened in October. Like I said, I had 2 kids that were paying and 2 that were free that I took. I worked at this gym daycare. So I started afternoon classes. So I'd work in the morning at this gym and then I would, in my van, I would take the 4 kids to my house. And 2 were free because you can't have a preschool class with 2 kids. So I brought in 2 extra kids for free just to like give me a chance. So I went through licensing. I got all my certifications I needed to have inspections in my home, all while I had decided I wanted an actual classroom. So my vision was that the parents were going to go through our side gate. There was going to be a whole separate room that they can enter from the side in the backyard. So I was creating this whole preschool that was going to be attached to the house, but separate. And so my home was going to be my home and my sacred space. And then the classroom was going to be the business. And I ran that way for 9 years, really, really successfully. And I even moved from different homes. And every time we moved to different cities, we looked for a home that could operate that way, that had like a family room to the side with its own entrance. So I made it a point to have my school be very separate from the home. And so it wasn't a daycare. I did not like the word daycare. I still don't like it because I feel like it's just crazy babysitting. And I made sure to never use daycare in my marketing and only use preschool because I was a preschool program. I had curriculum, I had circle time, art time, academics. Like I was teaching these kids. So market. So starting a business, you got to go and reach your community and like find out what your market is. Like, who are you really marketing to? Who's your audience? And then I did the work. I did the licensing. I did the walkthroughs. And I started, and it's like you're barely holding on when you're starting. But what happened was by April, the word got out about my little preschool. And I remember doing group tours at the time and people fighting to get in. So I went from 4 kids October starting, and then April I had 48 kids. I had like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday program going and a Tuesday, Thursday program going. I hired 2 teachers. I also probably stressed because there was a lot going on. I was 7 months pregnant with my second. I think I was 7 months pregnant with my second son. I knew what I was having this time. My first one was a surprise. I actually went into early labor. I started going into labor with him. I was 7 months along, and I ended up being on bed rest for like 4 weeks or something, 5 weeks. And go figure. Well, my oldest son was 10-2, natural childbirth. And then after all that, even going into early labor and being on bed rest, I think I might have been on bed rest for 6 weeks or something crazy in the midst of starting this business. He was born a week late, very big, healthy, 9.6 baby. But by April, I had a full school. So I was learning how to market, run tours. I had just been a teacher at that point. I had just worked for someone. So I was now the boss. I had to interview people. I had to find the right people. I had payroll. I had to learn about payroll and how to do that. Our taxes changed, obviously, because I had a business. So I was learning a lot about business, just everything from curriculum, from talking to parents and running tours. Like I just had to learn how to do all of that. And then really at the beginning for many, many years, I think a lot of people fall into this. When you own your own business, you want things to be perfect and you give of yourself so much. I don't think people realize sometimes how much owners of businesses give to their business. I looked at Loving Start as a second baby. Really. I had my son and then Loving Start came along. And I still to this day, it is such a part of me because it's such blood, sweat, and tears to put into your business, any business. And you give so much of yourself because you can taste it. You could see it. You could see the vision. You could see what this beautiful flower may be. And you put everything you've got into this business. And I did that. And nobody's perfect. And I'll be the first one to say I've made mistakes. I'm not perfect, but I have given my all to this business for sure. And from a lot of the early years, I was such a perfectionist. And if I got any complaints at all, I would take it on so personally. Like I would literally have like panic attacks, anxiety attacks, because I took on the business like so wholeheartedly that like even got to the point, like if I checked my email, I just wanted everything always to be perfect. And when you're running a business, it's not going to be perfect. You're not going to be able to please every single client. You're going to have to sometimes let go of clients. I remember a client always would come in with the negative thing to say. And finally, I was kind of like, I can't deal with this negative. She just needs to go. And I remember holding a check, like the remainder of her tuition. And I remember meeting her outside and saying, I don't think I can ever please you because there's always something negative. And she did a 180 and I never heard one thing about anything from then on. But that was like my 3rd year in business. I'm telling you, it's like, sometimes businesses can take a toll on a person because you take so much ownership in all of it. When you're an employee, the beautiful thing about that is you can leave your work there, which is awesome. There's beautiful things about both. It's just what your personality is. Like my husband is an employee and he freaking loves it. He can go fly the jet. And when he's not flying, he's not working at all. And that's something really beautiful about that. So as an entrepreneur and as someone starting a business, if you're starting on that path to entrepreneurship, and if you're starting on that path to owning your business, I encourage you to start learning boundaries earlier than waiting years, because it really took a toll on me sometimes. Like, it really took a toll on being mom and really being present there for my kids and involved and active, but also on the other hand, running this business with employees and payroll and making sure all the curriculum's perfect, the classroom is perfect. Like, every single parent is perfectly happy all the time. And that's just not reality. Like, it just can't be like that. So I just remember in the early years, for many years, I took that on, that ownership almost too personally. It took me a long time to start switching the hat from owner to actually CEO. I ran out of my home for 9 years, and I moved 3 different times during that period. So it was in Newark, California. Oh, I started in Fremont, California, moved to Newark, California, then moved to Loomis, California. And when I moved to Loomis, I still had my Newark school going with my daughter, who in 2006 we adopted from beautiful Guatemala. So I now had 4 children, and I was commuting to the Bay Area up towards Sacramento area. It was crazy. It was insanity. And I'd have my daughter with me. I was in contract with consulting another school that just opened. But that was the time I started learning how to be CEO. And that's like a whole nother learning period, is because sometimes as owners, like you get so friendly with your team, which I think is an amazing thing. But then sometimes you have to make hard calls as owner, because you're looking at the whole picture rather than just the small thing that's going on in front of you. But as I expanded, I had to really learn how to be a CEO. And I made some mistakes. So one of the mistakes in starting a business and the history of Loving Start Learning Centers was, at one point I grew too fast. And so I ran from 2001 all the way to 2009. So I guess 8 years in my house. And after like my 3rd surgery for cancer, the year I was going through breast cancer, it was like I had my implants put in. And like 2 days later, I was filling out a state application to open my first real center. And an opportunity had fallen into my lap. And I'm all about, if an opportunity is given to you, say yes. Just say yes. And if it's meant to be, it's going to fall into place and it's going to work. But say yes first and then figure it out. For example, I literally just said yes on a building to open a new school in an area near me just last week. Was in escrow, said yes, was super excited. I mean, I was so excited. I've seen this building for years and I always envisioned a school there. But the past week, as we've done our research with the city use permits, the building is awesome, but it's also from the 1930s and needs a ton of work. So every appointment we had over the last week was literally like, I felt like a door closing over and over and over again. And so after saying yes, but doing all the research, I know that it would not be a smart decision. But initially, I encourage you guys, for any situation, say yes, challenge yourself, and then figure it out. And then figure out, is this really right for you or is it wrong? So if I didn't say yes back in 2009, I would have really missed a great opportunity of stretching myself and learning how to open up like a really big center. It was licensed for 55, I think. And it was 2 hours away from my house, but I said yes. But during that time, I was also building a school on my property. So in 1 year, I opened up my first 2 centers. And both of those 2 centers went super successful right out of the gate. Well, those were like, I would call medium-sized centers. And I had just finished up my cancer treatment. So I also had this really sense of life is short, get things done. And so I opened up this school in February of 2010 in Newark, California. In May, we opened up, actually August of that same year, we opened up our Loomis Center. And one school was licensed for 30, one school was licensed for, I think, 55. Well, that wasn't enough for me. I just thought, ooh, I'm a superhero. I can do all of this. I can do everything because I just went through freaking cancer. So I then, I think it was in 2011, February, there was an empty building, a giant building, 8,000 square feet, empty. It used to be like a big franchise school, a big school. I decided to open up another from scratch. And that was a lot. It was like a lot. That big of a building, that amount of staff, it was a lot. So, but I learned. So sometimes you can grow too fast where it just gets so overwhelming. I think there's always like a sweet spot in business. And that goes with childcare centers, preschools, but that also goes for any other business. I have a friend that's like in like consulting. Anyways, there's in other businesses too, even with my friends, there's always a talk of, do I grow or do I stay small or do I stay just like this? I think there's a sweet spot and you've got to find that out for yourself. But the history of loving Start Learning Centers has been one of my biggest driving forces in this business is I really like providing jobs. One reason why I opened my centers is because I dealt with a lot of bad management in my past and people in management not treating other people nicely. And I wanted to be different. I wanted to create a place where teachers could feel empowered to be creative and to bring their strengths to light. If you walk into any of my schools, every classroom is very different and it's got its different vibe because I want my teachers to celebrate all the things that they are really excited about. And so I give freedom in that. I believe they went to school to become a teacher. And so it's not my job to tell them exactly what to do and how to do it. I do have guidelines and I have standards, and I think I have high standards, but I love empowering other women. That is one of my biggest driving forces. Like, it's a gift. It's also hard, managing budgets, employees. It's all a learning act. It's all hard and there's sweet spots in there, but I didn't have it any other way. I freaking love what I do. And I'm really excited now I feel like for the first time in 25 plus years, I started teaching at 19. So I would say officially, finally, after 25 years, I am hanging my hat up teaching in the classroom. I still visit, I still love it, and I still love little ones. Like, I love them and always will. But I feel now like my calling and my purpose and where my excitement is now is I really want to help other people achieve their goals and dreams and support them. So I'm excited about this next chapter of Loving Start Learning Center, and creating the Loving Start way is just all the philosophy, like my philosophy and like what I've learned over the years and what I think kids need. And every child is super unique and different, and entrepreneurship, all the things I've learned in being an owner of a business and growing and expanding and selling and shrinking and then growing again. And I'm excited to teach adults now, and like you maybe, or someone else, I'm just excited to like coach and come alongside and encourage. And entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart. And it comes sometimes with a lot of stress, a lot of worry, a lot of sleepless nights. But then you start to learn to set boundaries and balance all of it. And I think I do a really good job with that now. Let's see, it'll be in 2019, I took 1 year sabbatical and I had an amazing team. I got everybody in place to run. I had 2 schools, but I had gone through such a traumatic, very, very, very hard divorce that I needed a year. I just needed a year break to like slow down and truly heal. And during that time, I met my now husband. I fell in love. I started to travel and I haven't gone back. So I think this is just now a beautiful phase in my life where I get to work from home and I get to support others, kind of get to where I am now because like I said, where I've built the company, where I built my company is that I don't work a lot. I actually don't really work in it anymore anyways. I have an amazing team now that they're freaking rock stars. You girls, I freaking love you. They are amazing. They're rock stars. And I've given them, my leaders, my directors, I've given them the ability, the permission to run these schools in the best way possible. I always say, you guys are like my right hand girls. You are the face of me. I'm not there anymore, but they believe in the program. So when you find your right team, it's extraordinary. So it's allowed me to now pursue my other dreams, and coaching is one of them. And the book, I finally finished this book after like 5 years. And I'm excited I just basically wrote down all the secrets, all the things I've learned over 20 plus years running childcare centers. And I think it can translate into many different businesses because there's employees, there's finding your building, like office space, rental, like community, like how to market, budgeting, payroll, like all of it. I just put it all in there of just the things that I've learned. Yeah, that's just a little history about Loving Start Learning Centers. And I'm excited for our future. The schools will be around for a really long time. And now we're leveling up. We're creating a national learning center, and I'm going to help others open their own. And I think it's exciting because I don't think I like the word franchise very much, but I've been working on the franchise model for the past year. I've had someone pursue me for a very long time, like 7 or 8 years, asking me to franchise my school, but I just knew the timing wasn't right. And again, it comes back to my brain surgery. Waking up from brain surgery, I felt like it's time. I'm in a really good place in my life. So I'm really excited now because I'm going nationwide. And I think the beautiful thing about the Loving Start Way and the Loving Start Learning Centers is that I want it accessible to a lot of people. I think sometimes when you want to open up a center, a childcare center, you have to have a ton of money and you have to build this giant building. And it seems like not obtainable. But I didn't do that. I ran from my house for 9 years and I ran very successfully. And then I grew. Then I went to a medium center. I've had the large center. I've downsized. I've done a lot of different things. So now I'm excited. I get to share it with you and I get to teach and I get to come alongside others in their journey of entrepreneurship and see them reach their goals. And that just brings me so much joy. I'm excited. So that's the history of Loving Start. I think of it as an extension of me and also like another child. I never imagined my life would be like this ever in a million years when I was a kid. I never imagined mom turned CEO. I never imagined just all of it. I think, and that's probably you as well. Like sometimes you may look at your life too and think, I never thought I'd be here at this point, or I never imagined this would have happened. And you got to roll with it. But I feel very grateful and I love what I do. And I'm excited to help others along their journey of owning a childcare center or needing to be coached in business or whatever. But that's a little history about what I know about business, which is a lot. But have a wonderful week. Wishing you all the best and wish it, dream it, do it. Take care. Thanks for listening. I appreciate you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to hear this podcast. Make sure to hit the subscribe button so you won't miss the next episode. For more information on how to work with me, Miss Amber, visit me at thelovingstartway.com or follow me on Insta at The Loving Start Way.